What's up, guys? Right before we start the video talking about the Cubs and the Arizona Diamondbacks series, I just want to say a couple things. And that is thank you for all the support that you guys have been giving me. Thank you for, the people who has subscribed to my channel. I just recently broke the 30 subscriber mark, which is a huge deal in my opinion. I am forever grateful for all that. To think that I have 32 subscribers who actually care and want to listen to what I have to say, like I said, really means a lot to me, and that's just going to continue to drive me and push me further and further and further, to do my best for this podcast. I am going to continue to grow and get better. There is going to be some learning curves, there is going to be some growing pains. I get that, but stick with me, and I promise you, this podcast will take off someday, and I will be dishing out the very best Chicago Cub content that you could ever possibly imagine. So again, thank you for all my support. Thank you to all the people in my corner. Thank you to people who are subscribing, watching, liking, commenting, and doing all that. It really means a whole lot to me. What you guys already know what this means. It means strap down, buckle down, and let's get this damn thing started. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Cubby Perspective. My name is Andrew, and I'm a podcast for the fans and by the fans. With that being said, the Chicago Cubs do have a tough and formidable opponent they are versing this weekend. Friday to Sunday, the Cubs are going up against the 12-7 Arizona Diamondbacks. Fourth place Arizona Diamondbacks. Now you may think, oh, wait, the Diamondbacks are in fourth place. It shouldn't be too difficult. Well, guess what? They are 12-7, right? And they are in the best division in baseball. Think about it. They would be in first place in any other division in baseball if it wasn't for the NL West. You have the Padres, who are freakishly good this year, who are 15-4. The Giants came out of nowhere, really, 13-5 on the year. No one really expected that. I don't believe, at least. And then the Dodgers, who are 14-6, who are doing Los Angeles Dodgers type of things. So, right, Arizona should be better than fourth place, but unfortunately, they play in such a tough division. And the fact that their division is so tough, that's gonna only push the Arizona Diamondbacks, to play the best baseball they could possibly play. That means not making mental errors. That means not, making that routine play like the Cubs have not been really making. That means like hitting with runners in scoring position like the Cubs have not been doing. These are all things that the Arizona Diamondbacks understand they have to do in order to make the playoffs. Because as of right now, I firmly believe that the Dodgers are going to win the West. And then, you could have easily two wildcard spots come out of the NL West with the Giants and Padres, which only leads to one more, which you could fight, which the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies would all end up fighting for. And you could even throw in the Milwaukee Brewers there, because I think the Cubs are going to win the Central. So that's essentially five teams duking it out for the last wildcard spot or last two wildcard spots. So it is going to be tough for Arizona this year, considering the division that they're playing in, right? So Arizona, like I said, will not make these mistakes. They won't drop two easy fly balls in one at bat and then allow Manny Machado to hit a solo home run and take the lead. That's just not going to happen with Arizona. Arizona is, a good offensive team to where they're going to hit with runners in scoring position. They are going to pitch well. They do have a decent bullpen, right? So, with that being said, let's actually start diving into the actual matchup between the Cubs and the Diamondbacks. So, for Friday, we have Corbin Burns versus Colin Ray. Saturday, we have Zach Gallen versus Ben Brown, which I will be at that game. So, I will be, sending some videos from the headquarters, Wrigley Field, as well as Sunday, Merrill Kelly versus Jameson Tyone. So, this pitching matchup, in my opinion, favors Arizona a lot more than it does Chicago, right? No, even though Colin Ray is coming off a really good start, we don't know what Colin Ray is capable of doing. He is a veteran. He is getting older. He's not a starting pitcher anymore. Even though he, like I said, came off a good start against the Diamondbacks, he's probably not going to go deep into that game. So can the Cubs bullpen pick up the slack? I'm not sure. Ben Brown, again, he also was coming off a very good game. But he is a rookie and he is inconsistent. So we'll have to see what type of pitcher we get out of Ben Brown against the Diamondbacks and Jameson Tyone. Jameson Tyone, I like to refer to as like a firecracker. he could go out and give you a beautiful start, or he could go out there and just really shit the bed. So I think there's a lot of question marks going into this series, and if the Cubs want to, be a contender to win this series, I think we're going to have a mixture of decent starting pitching, a good bullpen, as well as good timely hitting. Don't just rely on that long ball to get you through games. The Cubs are going to have to, hit with runners in scoring position that it's been such a struggle to start this year for whatever reason. And we are going to have to see some players step up, such as Dansby Swanson, such as Ian Happ, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully the Cubs can rebound off of the terrible, terrible series against the Padres. Personally, I thank the Lord that we even came out with one win in that series. And like I said, if the Cubs want to actually do good against the Diamondbacks in this series, we are going to have to play to the best of our capabilities. All right, so let's start diving into some numbers regarding the pitching staff in this series. First and foremost, we have Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes has pitched 15.1 innings this year, 15 and a third innings. He's 0-1 with one loss, 14 strikeouts, a 5.28 ERA, as well as a 1.57 whip and one quality start. So, Corbin Burnes has not been pitching like Corbin Burnes usually does. But with that being said, Corbin Burnes is the epitome of a professional, and he will at some point start pitching the way Corbin Burnes starts to pitch again. So hopefully that's not in this series. Second, we have Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen has 21 and a third innings pitched this year. He's 1-2 with 2 losses and 1 win. 24 Ks, a 4.64 ERA, 1.41 whip, and 2 quality starts. Zach Gallen has been pitching better than Corbin Burnes this year, and Zach Gallen is also a very capable starting pitcher. Zach Gallen has been one of the league's best starting pitchers in the last, few seasons. So, Zach Gallen is also a heavy hitter, and it's only a matter of time before Zach Gallen starts pitching like Zach Gallen again, just like Corbin Burnes. So hopefully that does not happen in the series, because if we have Corbin Burnes as well as Zach Gallen pitching like how they typically pitch, the Cubs are going to be in for a long series. I promise you that. And last but not least, Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly, 21 innings pitched, 16 strikeouts, 5.57 ERA, 1.33 whip, and 2 quality starts. Merrill Kelly is getting older. I believe Merrill Kelly is 36 years old at the moment, so age is not on his side. But just like I said with Zach Gallen and Corbin Burnes, Merrill Kelly has been a very, very solid pitcher for the Diamondbacks the last few seasons. And quite frankly, I fully expect that to happen again. Merrill Kelly has pitched 4 starts this year and has pitched wonderful in 3 out of 4 of those starts. The reason why you see his ERA and his whip so inflated is because of that horrible start he had against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium to start the 2025 season. So if you take that start out of the picture, you're going to see Merrill Kelly be pitching like an absolute ace this year. So those are the numbers for the Arizona Diamondbacks pitchers, and let's dive into the Cubs now. For the Chicago Cubs, we have Colin Ray. Colin Ray has pitched 9 innings this year, 7 Ks, a 1.0 ERA, and a 1.11 whip. So Colin Ray has been pitching good. Colin Ray has pitched three times out of the bullpen, has not given up a single run, so he has been very effective out of the bullpen. As well as that game that he started against the Dodgers, he pitched very, very well against. Now, he didn't go deep into that game, but he almost gave us 4 innings, and he pitched really well in those 4 innings. So if Colin Ray could replicate that again and do that again against Arizona, I think that would be pretty fair. That would be a fair ask out of Colin Ray. But outside of Colin Ray, we have second, Ben Brown. We have Ben Brown, who's 17 and 2/3 innings pitched, 2-1 record, 20 Ks, 5.09 ERA, 1.7 whip, and 1 quality start. Ben Brown is also coming off a very good start. So hopefully he could, continues. He continues to move the chains forward, and he pitches well against Arizona. Everyone knows Ben Brown's a very capable starting pitcher in this league. If Ben Brown could just control himself, get those pitches in those spots that he wants to, you're going to see Ben Brown turn into a very effective pitcher, because he does have really wipeout stuff. You are going to see those strikeouts continue to climb throughout his career, because Ben Brown definitely has the juice in it, I promise you. But he is a really young pitcher, so you're going to have to expect some growing pains out of Ben Brown. And we all are just going to have to be patient with Ben Brown, right? Last but not least, we have Jameson Taillon. Jameson Taillon, 21 and 2/3 innings pitched, 1-1 record, 18 Ks, 5.4 ERA, 1.2 WHIP, and one quality start. Jameson Taillon has also pitched very well for the Cubs. Jameson Taillon, when he first signed that contract, he had a pretty abysmal first season with the Cubs. But after that season, Jameson Taillon has really kind of locked it in for the Chicago Cubs. Last year, he pitched very well for us, and this year, he's also pitching well for us. Again, just like Merrill Kelly, you see those numbers inflated, that ERA inflated, and that's only because of one bad start. So Jameson Taillon has been pitching well. So I think the Cubs do have a shot at this series, but like I said, they are going to have to pitch well. Their bullpen's going to have to, hold it down, as well as we're going to need some timely hitting. But yes, our pitching stacked up against their pitching, I got to give them credit, right? Now, if we had Shota Imanaga and Justin Steele going in this series, right, I'd be like, damn, this is a pretty damn good pitching matchup. But unfortunately, the Cubs have their lower tier starting pitchers going in this series. So yeah, again, for the second or third time, I am going to have to give the advantage to Arizona here. But now let's move on to the offense and talk about whose offense is better, who's hot, who's not, and who should we really be looking out for. All right, we're going to start off with the Chicago Cubs at the top of the order, and we're going to start off with Ian Happ. Ian Happ has not been doing so hot this year. Everyone knows he's got off to a really slow start, but that's what typically happens with Ian Happ. You see him really heat up as the weather gets a lot nicer. But Ian Happ right now, he's 21 for 90, 15 runs, 1 homer, 8 RBIs. So he's not really driving in many runs. He's not hitting for power yet. 1 stolen bag, 12 walks. The 12 walks are always Ian Happ. That's just part of his game. Ian Happ is going to have a really high on base. He's going to have a low batting average, and he's going to take his walks. And that's what he's doing this year, really. He has a 233 batting average and a 320 on base right now. But you are starting to see Ian Happ come out of his shell, right? Over the past 3 games, against San Diego, we won 1 for 4. Second game against San Diego, 1 for 5. And then the last game against San Diego, 3 for 4. So you are starting to see Ian Happ get some hits across the board, but he's just not, unfortunately, he's in a spot in the lineup where, since he's batting leadoff, he's not going to have too many opportunities to drive and run. So I wouldn't really expect, a crazy, RBI season from Ian Happ, like how he had last year with like 80, 88 or 86 or something like that. I don't see that happening. You're going to really see Tucker and Suzuki really feel that burden of, driving in those runs. But Ian Happ, he has been hitting the ball well, so I think he could be an X factor in this series, right? You got the righty on lefty hitting. Ian Happ does hit better on the left side of the ball. So we'll just have to wait and see what Ian Happ does. But Ian Happ does seem like he is starting to see the ball well. His timing is getting better. He's striking out less. So we're just going to have to wait and be patient. Second name on the list, and I'm only going to talk about 3 Chicago Cubs batters just for the sake of, the time on the video. Nico Hoerner has done very well to start this season. Nico Hoerner on the season is 21 for 67. He has 8 runs, 0 homers. Nico Hoerner never hits for power, so you don't really have to worry about his homer total. That's just not part of his game at all. But he is driving in a decent amount of runs so far. Already 11 on the year, 6 stolen bases, which is incredible. 5 walks, a 313 batting average, which is great, and a 356 on base. To go along with good defense and speed, I think Nico Hoerner's having himself a wonderful season. And especially, and look for Nico Hoerner to continue doing what he's doing. Nico Hoerner is a very, very solid hitter for the Cubs. Now, I wish he was more consistent, because there are times where I feel like Nico Hoerner kind of disappears. But when Nico Hoerner is seeing the ball well, you're going to see a whole lot of base hits out of him. You're going to see a whole lot of stolen bases, and all that. So look out for Nico Hoerner to have a great series against the Diamondbacks. And last name on the list for the Chicago Cubs is going to be Pete Crow Armstrong. Pete Crow Armstrong really started off the year very slow. He was looking completely lost at the plate. And I even made a video about, maybe PCA needs some more seasoning down in the minors, as well as maybe Craig Counsell should bench him for a few games just to clear his head. But obviously, Craig Counsell made the correct choice on keeping him in the lineup, because PCA has really, really turned it around. PCA has bumped up his numbers to 21 and 81 on the year, 15 runs, 3 homers. So he is hitting for some power. You're starting to see that power start translating into, pitching, or his hitting now. 10 RBIs, 7 stolen bases already, 5 walks, 259 batting average, and a 310 on base. If those numbers can stick with PCA and he could just hit that throughout the entire duration of the year, we're going to have a legitimate superstar on our hands. And I really, really mean that. PCA has been killing the ball and I expect PCA to continue to hit the ball well and ride this hot wave accordingly. So that actually concludes the preview for the Diamondbacks and the Cubs game this weekend. If you guys want to stop, I will no longer be talking about stats and the Chicago Cubs, but I just want to share a few stories with you guys that I think you guys will find pretty interesting. So as you guys know, I told you in the beginning of the video that I will be at the game on April 19th against the freaking Diamondbacks, right? But I went to Arizona this this season to start the season with my buddy Joe, and we were at this cigar lounge, right? And a lot happened at this cigar lounge. We were smoking our cigars, drinking our old fashions, our drinks, or whatever, just having a good time, talking about the Cubs, shooting the shit. And there was this older gentleman. His name is Frank, and he was standing kind of right by us. He ended up joining in on our conversation. He was a huge Cubs fanatic, just like me. We ended up talking baseball for quite some time, for numerous hours. And he ultimately obviously had to go. Night was over, but we exchanged phone numbers, and we're actually going to the game together on April 19th. So I'll be posting pictures of that from April 19th. But yeah, super super cool guy. I'm really excited to go to the ball game, on April 19th and share some brews together and all that kind of stuff. So I'll definitely keep you guys informed on that. But in that same bar, I don't know if you guys know who Greg Amsinger is, but my damn cigar ran out, so I walked up to the bar to buy another one. And this gentleman was sitting across the bar in some like pink collared shirt, and it kind of drew my attention, right? So I looked at him and I kind of like, I feel like I know who this guy is, but I can't really like grasp his name at the moment. So I'm staring at him for about a minute, and I finally realized who this guy was. He ended up being Greg Amsinger. So I walked up to him nonchalant. I didn't want to make a huge scene, obviously. I'm like, hey, dude, by chance, you wouldn't happen to be Greg Amsinger, right? And he ended up being a super chill guy. If you guys don't know who Greg Amsinger is on MLB Network. He's on the Tonight Show. He's with Harold Reynolds, Brian Kenny, and all those kind of guys. So he was a super chill guy. He even asked if I wanted a photo, because I wouldn't ask for a photo, which was very, very nice of him. So I have that photo. So I'll drop that photo in this video as well. And last but not least, and it's almost over, I promise. I was walking around Sloan Park when we went for Arizona, and I'm walking with my buddy Joe around the entire ballpark just to see some different angles and stuff, check out some stores. And this older gentleman was walking to the left of me, and I didn't really obviously I wouldn't care. Sloan Park's busy. But he kind of caught my eye, so I kind of glanced over and looked, and it happened to be Fergie Jenkins. So in that weekend, that short weekend that we were up there, a lot happened, and it was actually really, 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 really cool. So I just want to share that with you guys, and because I found it interesting. Hopefully, you guys found that interesting as well. But yeah, with that being said, always keep the faith, go Cubs, and I am the Cubby Perspective. Thank you.